What if there was a podcast where one NFL legend talked about football? What about two NFL legends, huh? What about three? This is Wideout's World, where the gridiron comes alive. NFL legends Fred Barnett, Irving Fryar, and Michael Timpson. Three NFL legends, breaking down the game from the ultimate insider perspective. Game recaps, upcoming previews, and exclusive analysis straight from the minds of those who've been in the trenches.
Yes.
Wideout's World. Let's do it.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
We're ready for some football, baby.
Ready for some football.
We're ready for some football, baby.
Listen, I want
No, stop. Before we say anything,
go ahead.
Happy birthday
Lord Jesus.
to you.
Y'all, Mike, you ain't singing.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Irvin.
Lord have mercy.
Happy birthday.
Oh, he said birthday. Okay, you broke it down.
How they do it in church? To
I was getting ready to take your
hold on.
because you didn't do
Lord Jesus.
you didn't do the
Happy
Stevie
birthday,
Wonder
what?
version. The Stevie Wonder version.
Okay, Mike,
Happy
you-
birthday to you.
That's the black version.
Lord
So which
Jesus.
one were
This
you,
is Stevie
which
Wonder.
version were you doing?
He
doing
doing
the
Fred
version.
What are you
Barnett.
doing?
He doing the Fred
Regular
Barnett version. Thank you. I appreciate it, brothers. Erlene Barnett is on already. Sister Erlene, God bless you. I don't
That's
know
my
how you
mama.
I don't know how you put up with this cat, but God bless you, Mama. God bless you. Billy Bell is in the house. Listen, we were just talking about this is not vetted. This is Wideout's World. I'm sorry. This is Wideout's
God,
World.
yeah.
Yeah, I know I got too many podcasts going on. This is Wideout's World. Thank y'all for being on tonight. Those of you, there are a bunch of you who are already on. Please acknowledge yourselves. I'm Irving Fryar. This is Mike Timpson. This is Fred Barnett. This is what we do every Wednesday night. We come on here and we talk about the play of the week before, and we critique wide receivers play, and we give you our predictions for the upcoming week, and then we also take in your questions. But before we move forward, I want us to just be quiet, because I don't know if any of you noticed it, but Fred has tree frogs at your house?
Tree frog.
He got tree frog. I don't know if you've noticed it. Vinny Capriati, what's going on? If you noticed when Fred is kind of talking, he opens up his mic, and then you hear like a chirp or a squeak or a tweet or just a creak like behind him. He's got tree frogs outside of his house, and they make a bunch of noise. I've been fussing at him, saying it was his mic, saying it was a setup, but it's tree frogs. So let's be quiet for a second, and let's see if we can hear them.
I think they're in the house.
Yep.
Yeah, y'all can hear the tree frogs. Yeah, we heard them. That is crazy. What I've never seen. What do they look like? What's a tree frog?
They're the
Is
tiniest.
it a frog?
It's a frog, and it's the tiniest little thing. And during the winter, you hear nothing. And we know when the good weather is coming, although we never really have bad weather. We know when the 70, 80 weather is coming, 80-degree weather is coming, when we start hearing the tree frogs. But when it's like 60s, they run for cover.
Still a 70, 80. So,
but it's literally, it's like an inch long.
So listen, I want, for those of you, Ronald Davis is in the house. He said, "What's up, Freddie? I missed you.
I missed you, man.
When you were here.
Yeah, I missed you.
Always love my dude." Listen,
yes, sir.
So I want everybody to put in the chat. Do you want Fred to do the show from a different room, or are you okay with the tree frogs? Okay, if you're okay with the tree frogs, just put it in the comments. You're okay with the tree frogs. If you're not, then please put in the comments, Fred, move to another room when you do the show.
No, I'll have to move to another country. There are tree frogs all over the island.
Well, you need to soundproof something. Go in the garage, go in your car. I don't know where you're going to go.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I mean, they come in, but he talks over them, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, but you can hear them. And people who are watching the show who are not familiar with the show, now they know they're tree frogs, but new people won't know they're tree frogs. They'll just think our setup is whack. They'll think, oh, they got squeaking going on. We ain't watching that show. No, we got to deal with the tree frogs, Fred.
My pet frogs.
We got to get the audio pristine. Ronald Davis is in the house. Billy Bell's in the house. Vincent Capriati's in the house. And Fred's Mama Earlene. Mama Earlene's in the house. Richard Melton is here. Richard,
he showed up?
Richard showed up?
Boy.
Hey,
Right.
he showed up, but he ain't showing out.
Bill's Mafia.
Richard, we told you. We told you, Richard. We told you.
Look, Richard's he's gonna be making comments, I'm sure. He is on our YouTube page. Thank you, Richard, for subscribing to White House World YouTube page. And that goes for like you, Billy Bell, and you, Vincent Capriati. I see that you guys are on Facebook. Please go over, if you can, go over to YouTube, search for White House World, and subscribe. And check us out on our YouTube page. We want you guys to watch us with pristine audio and pristine video. It's better on YouTube. So listen, just finished week 4, right? And a whole bunch of crazy stuff went on. I mean, this league is just unbelievable. But we'll always have something to talk about, and that's a good thing. So our first segment of the show is always talking about our top 5 wide receivers of the week. This is week 4, or was week 4. So let's start that out with you, Mike. Who are your top 5 wide receivers this week from week number 4?
All right. Number 5, Jamar Chase. With a win versus Carolina, he has 3 catches for 85 yards. He averaged about 28 yards a catch. You saw that he had a breakout reception that he kind of shook off 3 tacklers, and took it to the house. So that was a good opportunity to see him at work, because he's kind of been slow since the season started. So that was a good game for him. Number 4, Jamison Williams. We had talked about him earlier, the wide receiver for Detroit, their win versus Seattle. He had 2 receptions for 80 yards. He averaged, that's obviously 40 yards a catch.
Wow.
And one TD. And I think his dunk at the end was even more impressive. He got up there and got a dunk. But I like him as a young receiver. He has mad skills, but I'm surprised that he only caught 2 balls. Number 3, Malik.
Well, when you're
Neighbors.
catching them 40 yards at a clip, you only need to catch 2.
Well, imagine if he had 2 more.
Right.
So
yeah.
that's why he's just, he's a game changer. So hopefully they can get him in the ball more. Malik Neighbors, number 3 with New York Giants, the loss versus the Cowboys, 12 receptions for 115 yards, 0 touchdowns.
Right.
He didn't get in the end zone. Now he's in concussion protocol right now. You saw where he kind of toe tapped on the sideline and tried to make a catch and fell down straight on his face. And the thing that was surprising to me on that play, you're taught, almost even not even taught it, to bow your neck when you're getting ready for contact, to hit the ground. I mean, for him to just slam his face in the ground like
or
that.
it just happens it happens naturally when you get ready to fall, that you bow your neck.
And that was surprising to me that he just went.
Kind of brace yourself.
He just blinked out and fell down, and that's how hard. So he has a concussion.
Maybe he was concussed before he got concussed.
I thought about that. I actually thought about that. But he's having a good year. He's had 52 targets total, and he has 35 receptions right now.
Right.
I'm a little worried because he has Daniel Jones throwing him. Daniel Jones is going to get him killed.
They're using it.
That's
the same thing.
I'm not so sure about that. But anyway, number 2, Nico Collins, the wide receiver from Houston, their win over Jacksonville, 12 receptions for 151 yards. He averaged 12 yards a shot, 1 TD. Now, Jacksonville's not very good. For him to have 12 receptions and not to just really hose them for a lot more yards, I was kind of surprised because it was against Jacksonville. But still give him his props. Nico Collins, number 2. And my number 1, we talked about him earlier, Green Bay, Jaden Reed. on a
Agreed.
loss
Yes.
versus Minnesota. 7 receptions for 139 yards, 19 yards average, 1 TD. And here's the thing: he's the sixth best receiver as far as yardage is concerned in the NFL.
Right.
He only has 17 receptions this year, and so he's had 22 targets and he has 17 receptions, and he's number 6 in the league. So good year, good breakout year for Jaden Reed. So he's my number 1 pick.
Good. That's good.
That's pretty good.
We're around the same thing. Are you there, Fred? Is Fred okay? You look like you were frozen for a minute there, brother. Listen, Richard is throwing salt. Oh my
Richard.
God. He said, "How about them Eagles?"
Salt
though?
where? On it?
He's throwing
He's
salt.
throwing salt on his wounds.
You throwing salt.
Yeah,
You come in salt. You just come in swinging haymakers in the show, huh, Richard?
Yeah,
You're not playing today. Okay, we'll get to you in a minute. Kenneth Winston, shout out to you, brother. Thanks for being with us. Fred, go ahead. What's your top 5?
My top 5. Let me go with number 5. First of all, this guy's way down the line when it comes to being in the top of the stats for the week, simply because he didn't have but 71 yards. That's Wan'Dale Robinson. He's from the Giants. He had 11 catches. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, any guy with 11 catches, he's really involved in the offense. You know, they're really getting him in the offense. He has 11 catches, didn't have a touchdown, but he has 71 yards. And, you know, I think when a receiver has that many catches, that he is significant in the offense, and he's made himself important in that particular game. Of course, they didn't win the game, but I got Wan'Dale Robinson at number 5. Number 4, Mike Evans. This guy is. I think we talked about him the first time we had the show. I think the first show he was one of my top guys, and he's continued to, you know, be that force. You know, I literally just disgusted that Baker Mayfield is able to get him the ball like he's able to. I think that they've done a great job offensively in getting him the ball. He had 1 touchdown. He had 8 catches for 94 yards, which is not bad. I got Malik Neighbors at 12 catches. Mike, you already mentioned this. 12 catches, 115 yards, no touchdowns, and lost to Dallas. I think Malik's going to be a star. Neighbors is going to be a star in this league.
But Fred,
and Mike, you made a good point that if
Daniel Jones don't get him killed,
if his quarterback don't get him killed.
Well, let me make this
comment.
For those 2 receivers that you talked about, Fred, both of them are on the Giants.
Yeah.
The guy Daniel Jones, he doesn't push the ball down the field, so they're catching a lot of balls, but they're short yardage balls. I mean, he just will not push the ball down the
field.
field.
Daniel Jones, I didn't realize it. I watched a little bit of that game with Dallas and the Giants, and you know, you hear that Daniel Jones is not very good. That they kind of wasted the money that they gave him in the contract, that big money. And watching him, you know, I come to the same conclusion that he is not very good at all. And I feel bad for the receivers that are there, particularly Malik Neighbors, because Malik is potentially a superstar. But, you know, there's the potential there. He's going to get killed. He already got a concussion, as you saw.
And I tell you what, if I was Malik, I would not sign an extension.
No. Not as long as Daniel Jones is there. If they get another quarterback, as long as Daniel Jones is there, no, I'm not signing an extension, no.
Play that thing out and you know, go somewhere else and get paid.
Nothing he can do about the fact that they drafted him, but he can do something about the team after his contract is up, you know, becoming a free agent. Yeah.
Not at all. I think I got your number 1, Mike, as my number 2, Jaden Reed, 7 receptions, 139 yards. Green Bay lost to Minnesota, which, goodness gracious, Minnesota is just blowing my mind. But I got Nico Collins, number 1, and I think I said this earlier. I think the first show or the second show. And I think my top 3 wide receivers going into our season of this show was Houston's top 3.
Yeah.
because
Well,
I
no,
felt
you
like
you had Puka
that,
Nacua as
that
one of your top three.
no, my top three duo.
Oh, okay. Oh, duo. Okay.
You remember we did duos,
Mm-hmm.
and Houston was one of my top three
Mm-hmm.
because I just felt like Nico Collins. It was just his time, and every week. I mean, it's just been 3 weeks, but he has just been a boss.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, in terms of being productive. And of course, I think they lost at one loss at this point. But Nico had 12 yards. I'm sorry, 12 receptions, 151 yards, and a touchdown against Jacksonville. And Mike, you know, just like I think you mentioned our first show, you mentioned expectations, which I had time to think about that, and you are very right. You're on point in terms of what we expect going into a season for certain teams based on what their roster look like. And the question is, do they live up to those
Right.
expectations? And those expectations sometimes can be unrealistic for some people,
Right.
but like Dallas fans, and it's realistic for other people. And I think that the expectation, in my opinion, for a guy like Nico Collins is the sky is the limit, and this
Mm-hmm.
guy could easily have a 1700 almost 2,000 yard season, in my opinion. A 1,700 yard season
That's a
easily.
lot of yards, bro.
That's a lot of yards.
That's a lot of yards.
But if you look at his numbers now, man, and dude, I think they're gonna be on fire, man. I
Well,
think Nico is that guy. Nico is his guy.
all right. Well, let me give you. Thank you, Fred. Let me give you my top.
Yep.
I was looking at the stats and looking at some film or going back and watching some of the games. I
Mhm.
try to do some of that, or just watching some of the plays. Kenneth Winston, what's going on? James Monsanto. Yes, James Monsanto. Did I say that right? Yep. Dwayne Murphy's in the house. Teresa, Marilyn Teresa is in the house. Thanks for being with us today. She said, "Happy Wednesday, gentlemen."
Hump
Dwayne
day.
Murphy said, "Fly, Eagles, fly." Yeah, what's up, fellas? James Monsanto said. In the house. So my top five, I couldn't find a fifth because there were so many.
Don't you start that. Don't you start that. don't you start that, man.
I'm like that. There were so many because we kind of set a standard last year. I mean, obviously the top guy couldn't be a guy that didn't catch a touchdown pass, right, in our top five. We kind of set that standard last year because I had a top guy last year who didn't catch a touchdown pass, and y'all had to fit. So I'm looking at all the stats and looking at trying to, do my research, and there weren't a whole lot of receivers that did real well this particular week who had big games on this particular week in week number 4. So I could only come up, I'm sorry, I could only come up with 4. I have the top 4 because nobody
You got another tight end, Fred. You got another tight end.
No, I don't have a tight end.
He
I just have 4
probably
receivers.
got 2 tight ends in the top.
No. I just got 4 receivers. I'm not putting any tight ends this year. I tried to sneak that in last year, and y'all had, like I said, you had a fit. So I'm not doing that. So my 4, and it's in correlation with what you guys have already said. Who is that, Fred? Is that your dog?
That's dope.
I know Mike ain't got a dog. that's got to be Fred's dog. Malik Neighbors is my number 4. 12 catches, 115 yards, 0 TDs. They lost against Dallas. But, man, this young cat, rookie, crazy catches, tough catches, excellent route runner, crazy hands, and he's got moxie. He's got grit. I like that out of him. He knows that he's good. He's not being arrogant about it, but he plays like he knows that he's good. He wants you to know if you're playing against him, listen, I'm good. I'm going to get you. I'm going to do my thing. I'm bringing it, and it's going to be work all day today. And I love that about him. Yep. And right so far, like you said, Mike, he's got 35 catches, 386 yards, and 3 TDs just in 4 weeks as a rookie with a bad quarterback. Quarterback.
You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of you a little bit. He plays reckless and just a little crazy. And I mean that in
That's how I
respectful way.
played?
You kind of played a little reckless. Think about when you was trying to knock people out as a
I didn't
block.
care about nothing, man. That's all I
Exactly.
cared about at one point, just knocking somebody out.
And so he seems to have that edge to him, so which is probably what attracts you to him. So, go
You're
ahead.
right. You're probably so, but I like it. But it's not. He doesn't act like he's cocky. I don't get that from him, like he's being arrogant or like he's being cocky. He's just, that's who he is. He knows that's his space and that's where he belongs, and he's going to be productive at it. And you're going to have to stop him. You're going to have to stop him because he's going to do his thing. And I like that about him. My number 3 was Mike Evans, or is Mike Evans. They won 33-16 over the Eagles. Tampa Bay put it on the Eagles. The old man keeps showing up. This is his 11th year. Listen, Mike Evans, and this is his best game this year. 8 receptions, 94 yards, 1 TD, 24 long. But he keeps showing up. He's had, 10 years so far? Every year that he's been in the league, he's had over 1,000 yards, or a little bit over 1,000 yards. He's played with 7 different quarterbacks too, so I can identify with that. I caught balls from 19 different quarterbacks in 17 years, and he continues to be productive no matter who's throwing the ball. There was something my father told me years ago. My father was very, very practical. He only had a 4th grade education, but he told me something that was very practical that I took and I applied to football because I had to. My father was when I started playing baseball, my father was one of the baseball coaches when I was 7 years old. That's when I started playing baseball. He was one of our coaches that year. And we happened to come up against a pitcher that was left-handed. We hadn't seen a left-handed pitcher before. So now we have a left-handed pitcher that's throwing the ball. My dad looked at all of us. He said, listen, it doesn't matter that he's left-handed just because it looks different. When the ball, watch this, when the ball comes over the plate in your strike zone, hit it. Period.
Okay. Period.
That's practical. It doesn't matter who's throwing it. When it comes over the plate in the strike zone, hit it. And I took that same philosophy, that same practicality or practical statement, and I used that in my career with 19 different quarterbacks, because some of the quarterbacks were right-handed, some of the quarterbacks were left-handed, some of the quarterbacks threw the ball hard, some of the quarterbacks threw the ball low. When the ball comes and you can catch it, it's in your catch radius, catch the ball.
Yeah, catch it.
It doesn't matter who's throwing it, catch it. Doesn't matter. And I was able to use that. But Mike Evans, hats off to him because he's still doing it. Not that he's an old man, but he's 11 years in the league, and he's 1,000 yards every year. That's an accomplishment. My number 2 was Jaden Reed from the Packers, 2nd year out of Michigan State, 2nd round in 2023. He was drafted, 7 receptions, 139 yards, 1 TD, 19.9 yard average, and 42 long. They lost to the Vikings, 32-29, but he scored the first points for Green Bay with 15 yards from 15 yards out right before half, and he grabbed a 21-yard grab and a 42-yard grab back-to-back. They were back-to-back plays on the Packers' final drive. So that was big time. He was showing up big time, making big catches. Unfortunately, they lost the game. And my number 1 is Nico Collins. Like you said, this cat is exceptional. There's a win, 24-20 over Jacksonville. Although Jacksonville sucks right now, they're just real bad right now. I don't know what's going on, and it starts with the quarterback, and it goes again to Doug Peterson, the head coach. But he had 12 receptions, 151 yards, 1 TD, and 26 yards was the long one. So this career or this reception day for him was a career high in receptions in a game, and he's 4 seasons in. This was his career high. This is the first time that he caught 12 balls in one season. It's the 19th time that he topped or went over 150 yards. And he has 100-plus yard games 3 out of the 4 games this season. And he's the first player in the Texans' history to have at least 450 yards in the first 4 games of the season. Nico Collins is the truth. He's the truth. He's my number 1.
Now, does that include the Houston Oilers or just the Houston Texans?
I was just about to ask that.
The Texans. No, the Texans. The Texans.
Texans, okay.
It's just the Texans. Yeah.
Everybody don't know about the Houston Oilers.
Yeah, Houston Oilers.
Ernest Givens.
Nah, a lot of people don't know about the Houston Oilers, but the Houston Texans, yeah. No, the stat said the Texans. It didn't say the Oilers. So yeah, it's just the Texans. So it's not. It doesn't go back that far. Doesn't go back that far. How long have the Texans been in existence? When did they change the name?
Let me get my stat person. My
3 or
stat
4
person.
years.
Hey, look that up. And see
4 or
how-
5 years.
Yeah. So my stat person's looking it up.
It
We'll
hasn't
get
been
back-
long.
Yo, watch Mike's hands, y'all. He getting ready to get on his computer and look it up himself. He's gonna say a stats person gave it to him.
Because Houston went to Tennessee.
Right.
All
And-
went to Tennessee,
And there was another team that came and changed their name to the
that's
Houston
right.
Texans. Yeah.
You're
So
right.
what team
I
was
forgot.
that? What team was that?
No,
that
it
came?
was a new team.
It was just a new team.
Yeah, it was a new team because
started a new
Tennessee, Houston Oilers went to
That's
Tennessee.
Went to
That's
Tennessee.
Titans.
Titans,
And then
right.
Houston was like, we'll get a new team.
Okay.
Okay, I
All
didn't
right.
forget about that. You're right,
Yeah.
Fred. See,
Yeah.
All right.
stat person, stand down, stat person. You're all right. We
Stand
got it.
down, stat person, boy. So also, and listen, if you have a question, we're going to give you an opportunity. Marilyn, we see you. They were horrible this week.
See you, Maryland.
We're going to
See
give you an
you,
opportunity,
Merle.
everybody an opportunity in the latter part of the show, in the second half, to ask questions to us. If you have any questions, we're going to give you a moment. Throw a cue
Or a
up,
comment.
semicolon.
You may have a comment. You may have
Or-
a comment. You may have something to get off your chest.
Uh-oh.
Richard.
Yeah, Richard.
Uh-oh.
You might have something to get off your chest.
Don't start, Richard. Don't get him started. They gonna lose again this week for sure, and we'll be in the stadium with the rest of the mafia. Richard,
you're
you
right.
throwing salt, bro. He's an Eagle. He's a Bills fan and an Eagles hater. I don't know if he hates the Eagles because I'm an Eagles fan, and Fred, I believe, is an Eagles fan. Are you an Eagles fan, Fred?
Yeah, I'm an Eagles fan.
Okay, Mike. Who
for
are
sure.
you a fan of?
Mike, San
I'm
Francisco.
a fan of the NFL.
You know what? You full of it. That's what you are. You full of it right now. You follow a team. What team do you fancy?
We went through this last year.
We
The
did.
team
Well,
that
let's
I
go through it
follow-
again. Let's go through it
Okay,
again.
here we go.
Let's go
The
through it again.
49ers. The
Hey,
49ers.
hey, no,
that's
no,
right.
no.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah, that's
Irv.
right. He did say the
Hey,
49ers.
Mike's a real fan. He only blow on the team that's hot.
Well, the 49ers are not hot right now. They
Not
got
hot.
So
they got
whoever's hot,
Christian
he's blowing on
McCaffrey's
them.
over in Germany somewhere getting his Achilles looked at.
And I'm still on the. I'm still pulling for
Hey,
him.
both of them.
Yeah. He's You know what? You can't mess with your Achilles back there.
Right.
I think he's trying to keep from obviously rupturing them. And
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know what kind of treatment they're giving him or what
you
they're
know-
saying. But I don't think he's going to play for most of the season if he plays at all this year.
Herb, can I say this? Let me say this. Here's what's interesting, and I think it's an interesting reality that at time a lot of people miss, and of course we're able to experience it. Herb, you had the chance to play for a very, very long time and not have a major injury, and I think a lot of fans don't even realize that there are times when their favorite player is out there having great games, and sometimes he's in pain.
Oh, all the time.
Sometimes he's in pain, and then at some point, there's an injury here or there, and then the fan gets shocked, like, wait a minute, where'd this come from? It built up. It built up. There are times when this guy probably played in a game and he was in pain, and now he's having to deal with it. And now it's on the table and he's having to deal with it, and all of a sudden, I don't wish anything bad on McCaffrey, of course. I don't wish anything
Right.
bad on anybody. I hope
Right.
everybody's scared. But the last thing we would want is for McCaffrey to be like, this season is a wrap because I have to deal with this. But that could be a reality.
Right.
But that's
right.
something that the fans don't really see. There are a lot of times that I played in pain. I was able to get 8 years in with 2 knee surgeries. Mike, I'm not sure how many years you get. I know Irv got like 25 years in. But
But you know what, Fred? What you're saying, just for the people who are true NFL fans, FB. He said, "Who's FB?" Oh, that's you, Fred. Joe Baker's in the house. What's going on? Kenneth Winston is in the house. We got a lot of folk watching right now. So I have a similar story, Fred and Mike, where Mike, were you with Philly my last year in Philly, or was it my first 2 years? How many years were you in Philly with me?
Just for 1 year, 97.
Was that my first year or second year? My second year? No, that's my first
You
year.
gotta ask yourself. That was your second year.
My second
Just
year.
second year.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
We
Because you know
flipped.
what?
We flipped. Yeah.
John Gruden came to me during the offseason and asked me who did I want to come and play on the other side of me? And I told him you, Mike, and he went and got you. That's how you got there. Yeah, he came and asked me because I had a good year there. So my last year in Philadelphia.
So he listened to you.
Yeah, he did. So my last year in Philadelphia, well, I had a little clout because I had a Pro Bowl year my first year there. So he was asking me, and Chris T. Jones had gone down and wasn't coming back because he had a bad injury and needed surgery and all that kind of stuff. So my third year, my last year in Philadelphia, the second game of the season, I broke a bone in my big toe, the sesamoid bone under my toe. And that sesamoid bone connects right underneath the toe where the toe connects to the foot. It's right. If you were to take cleats and put cleats on, grass cleats, right where that cleat is up underneath there, that's where that bone is. So I was getting shots all season long in my toe, in the front of my toe, to go out and play every game all season long. And I did that not because I wanted to. I did that simply because I did not want to disappoint my teammates and I did not want to disappoint the fans. I played because if I had any sense at all, I would have taken that whole season off. Deion Sanders had the same injury, and he didn't play the whole season. When he got that same broken bone in his foot, the rest of the season he didn't play. I should have done the same thing, but I didn't. Why? Because I was in pain. I was in serious pain. And I'm not talking about during the game. I'm talking about all the time. You know, whether I was at the game, whether I was at practice, whether I was at home trying to watch TV, I was in pain all the time, 24 hours, 7 days a week. And it was a lot of pain. Wow. And I just grit my teeth and dealt with it. But I did it. I did it because not for me. If I had even thought about myself for a moment, I would have sat my behind down. But I played in all that pain, and I can say that now because I know for sure I played in all that pain for the fans and for my teammates. It was not for me at all.
Do you walk with a limp now?
No, I don't walk with a limp. But what happened was James Collins and the doctors misdiagnosed me. They told me that I had turf toe. So that's why I kept getting shot up. That's why I kept playing. They said it was turf toe. Never sent me over to get an MRI. Never sent me over to get an X-ray. They told me it was turf toe. And so I kept getting the shots. Then after the season was over, I supposedly retired at the end of the season. And I went and I started filming in the movie Any Given Sunday. And I'm running routes, showing Bill Bellamy how to run routes and stuff. And I got halfway through the time I was supposed to be there, and the toe started messing with me so much because I couldn't get a shot. I couldn't keep filming, and I had to leave the set. And that's when they brought T.O. in. I got on the movie, but they brought T.O. in, and he finished the rest of the movie with my part.
Were you an extra?
No, I wasn't extra. No, I catch a touchdown pass in that movie, man. I break up the fight between LL Cool J and Jamie Foxx on the field.
All right, Fred, we got to go back and look at it again.
Go back and look at it. If you watch when they get in the pushing match on the sidelines, and Al Pacino's right there, he's the head coach. I'm the one that breaks up the fight. When they put,
I think I remember that.
I'm Champagne. When he's talking in the huddle, he says Champagne, and then Kirk Franklin's music comes on. I'm the one that catches the touchdown pass. I get in the end zone, and I take the ball like it's a hand grenade, and I bite the hand grenade off and throw it up, and we all fall down. That's me.
You should have told us your nickname was Champagne. You should have
Champagne.
told us.
Yeah.
Fred, you should have told us that, Fred. It's all now. You should have told us that, Fred.
You call me Champagne. You can call me Champagne.
Yeah, it's strip club
Hey,
name.
on another note.
But
It's
I had
strip club
on
name
another
is
note.
Champagne.
But listen, but let me finish real quick, Fred. But I couldn't finish filming because my toe started acting up. So while I was down there, I went to the team doctor, Miami Dolphins team doctor, and he did X-rays, and he said, "You got a broken bone in your foot." And I stayed down there and got surgery and got it fixed, and I ended up coming back and playing with the Washington Redskins the next year. But I didn't know that I had a broken bone in my toe. I didn't know. Keith Reynolds is in the house.
I wanna-
Listen, Keith, watching over. Keith is one of the gentlemen. Keith is one of the engineers that I had look at our show that gave me the advice that I talked to you about. He's watching right now on Roku, and he says the show looks good.
Okay, well, thank you. Appreciate it.
But we're gonna have you talk to us about other things about the show, Keith. But we'll
let me give a quick. I want to give a quick.
That's the backdoor stuff, Irv. That's the backdoor stuff.
I want to give a quick shout out to Darryl Pollard, cornerback for the 49ers in the 90s. And he's kind of, talked to the 49ers and just kind of got an inside scoop. He mentioned that McCaffrey has had PRP and is getting shots in both Achilles.
What's PRP?
No, I'm sorry, stem cell in both stem cell.
Wow.
In both Achilles. So he's basically getting. I think stem cell is when you basically retract your blood and shoot your blood back in that area. Mike, not Mike, but Daryl. What's PRP?
Did McCaffrey injure himself in training camp or during the off season? When did he actually start having Achilles problems?
That's when it seems like it was something that he took from training camp into the season. But let me ask you guys something. Do you remember when we were playing? I just don't remember all of these Achilles problems.
Right.
I just, we heard obviously Marino was the biggest one, but we just didn't have a lot of Achilles.
Rodney Peete ruptured his Achilles as well.
Okay, but that's very minimal compared to these.
Right.
Every year, people are popping Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
It's just interesting.
I think it really goes back to what we said initially in terms of how we practice opposed to how I think the union and the collective bargaining agreement are putting the guys in a position to practice today. It's totally different, man. Dude, we had 3-a-days, bro, and we ran.
But you know what?
We ran. We conditioned.
But you know what, guys?
That was after practice.
One of the big to-dos around here right now, obviously I'm in the area of the Eagles, is the conditioning of the Eagles in the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, first of all, it's going to be hot, right?
Right.
The opportunity that I had to go to a couple of practices during training camp with the Eagles, on both cases, one was pushed back to the evening because it was going to be too hot during the day. And the other one was pushed up until the early morning because it was going to be too hot during the day. But these guys go down to Tampa. Now, I don't ever remember you or me or you, Fred, Mike, none of us ever having problems with the heat, cramping up and gassing out. Why? Because we prepared ourselves not only during the off season to be ready for that kind of stuff, because you're going to play in the heat, you're going to play in the cold, you're going to play when it's raining, you're going to play when the grass is wet, you're going to play on hard turf, you're going to play in these different conditions because that's where football is played. And for guys to go down to Tampa Bay knowing that, we have apps on our phones that tell us what the weather's going to be, 10 days out in advance. And you know that it's going to be hot. You know that you haven't been in that kind of heat. So why aren't you preparing yourself? You can get fluids and stuff a week before so that you get down there and you don't dehydrate. You can prepare yourself for the heat. But they were gassed and cramping up and guys falling out in the first quarter.
Bro, we played a Sunday night game in Phoenix, 8:00. It was 103.
Yeah, Arizona.
8:00.
Arizona ain't no joke. Yeah.
And you know what? We kicked their butts in their heat.
But you also know what the other thing is, if you go back and look, and you're the same way, Mike, you're the same way, Fred. I can say this to you. I'm talking to the fans now who are watching, those who are on with us. When we played the game, and I'm trying not to sound like an old hater, but I ain't come out the game.
No.
I was on goal line. I played goal line. I was the receiver on goal line offense, short yardage offense. In my career, out of all the offensive plays that were played when I was active, when I was on the team, whether it was New England, whether it was Miami, whether it was Philadelphia, whether it was Washington, I went to Washington to be the third receiver. I ended up being the starter after 2 games into the first season there. I ended up, with my career, if you look at all the offensive plays, I probably played in the mid-90s percentage of all the offensive plays that were ever called out of the teams, the years that I was there. I was on the field 95% of the plays that were called offensively. We didn't come, and they come. It's just different now. They don't condition after practice. They don't run after practice. They don't do any of that. And the coaches can't ask them to do that or tell them to do that. If they're going to do something like that, they have to do that kind of stuff on their own.
Fred, when Irv and I was down in Miami, we would train together.
Oh, that's the best shape I was in.
We had weighted bodysuits.
Yeah.
That we would run with. I mean, we just put in the work. I mean, we was on the track at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just things that we did to get ourselves in shape, and these guys just don't do that now. You know.
That was the best. I'm telling you, that was the best shape. That those 3, I think we did it 3 years when we had, we had opportunity and we worked out together for like 3 off seasons together. Those 3 years, man, I was in the best shape I was ever. And we get on the track because Mike was a track guy, and he could always outdo me in track. So he'd lead the way in track, and I'd follow him around the track, try to keep up with him on the track. And then the weight room was my area, so he'd come with me in the weight room after we ran track, and I'd be the boss in the weight room. We'd throw the weights around, and it was a great relationship. It worked out perfect, and man, I was in great shape.
And I want to say this, and I know both of y'all have been there, but what a feeling it is to just run 10 110s and you just feel like you can run 10 more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such an amazing feeling to be in tip top shape, man.
But those were conditioning tests that we had. And sometimes it was on you, the individual, to like, hey, let me take myself there. Let me get my own luggage and take me there. I don't need nobody to take me. I don't need my coach to tell me. I want to prepare myself. And I think I think with today's league, the league is not putting these guys is not putting the team in position to do that, and guys are not taking it upon themselves to do it.
No, they're not going to take it upon themselves. I mean, there was a trick. I would not trick myself, but I would prepare myself to play 5 quarters because there's always the possibility that you have to play 5 quarters in a game. Correct? If it's tie after 4 quarters, you're going into the 5th quarter, and if nobody scores, then guess what? You can play a whole 5 quarters. Yeah. So I would always prepare myself during the off season to play 5 quarters. Now, let's say there's an average of probably 60, 65 plays a game that you play offensively or defensively. So we'll break it down into quarters. That's 15 plays a quarter, right? 15 is 30, another 30. So I would do this.
45.
I would run 15 100s, all right, with 40, 45 seconds rest in between each 100 because you get 40, 45 seconds rest in between each play. So we're running about 15 plays. So, and I would work when I start getting winded in that 40, 45 seconds, I would work on my breathing because I'm not tired. Because if I'm tired, I would collapse. You're winded. So I would work on my breathing as I'm running in between those different 100s. So if I'm in a game and we're running play after play after play, that's how I can stay in the game. When I'm coming back to the huddle and I'm in the huddle, that 45 seconds, I'm working on my breathing. Yeah, I'm listening to the play, but I've trained myself to get my breathing under control so that I can keep playing.
You're a different animal.
So I can keep playing because you're not tired. Yeah. If you're tired, your legs would give out, right? You're in shape. Yeah. You're just winded. You need to work on your breathing and control your breathing.
Control your breathing.
Yeah. So that was one of the things that I did, but it's different today. So let me shout some folks out.
We need to roll.
Yeah, we got to get moving. but this is good stuff. People like to hear this. Billy Bell in the house. Vincent Capriati's in the house. Richard Melton is in the house. He said, at Michael Timpson, Champagne, ha, 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 ha. You know what, Richard? I'm done with you, man. Keith Reynolds is in the house. Kenneth Winston, shout out to you. Joe Baker, Pastor Baker, shout out to you. Marilyn Teresa, shout out to you. Mark the calendar. You're right. I don't know what I said. She said they were horrible too. Fred Barnett's in the house. Freddie said something. Dwayne Murphy, Fly Eagles Fly. James X Man Monsanto is in the house. Kenneth Winston, Richard Melton, Ronald Davis. Shout out to you. Who else? Erlene Barnett. Mother Barnett's in the house. So what's your surprise of the week, fellas? Fred. Uh-oh. I'm gonna let Mike go first since he laughed.
Let Fred go. It's only fair.
You got something sneaky. You got something. Okay, you want to go first, Fred?
Oh, Mike got something sneaky?
Yeah, he got something up his sleeve.
Let me tell you something. Who, me?
Go ahead, Fred.
Mike.
Go ahead, Fred. It rhymes. Go ahead, Fred.
So, go ahead, Fred. I would have thought that I would have seen a baby pigeon before the Titans scored 31 points this season.
a baby what? A baby
Boy,
what?
Here we go
a
again.
baby pigeon.
Yeah, he's making stuff up now. These illustrations.
First of all, nobody has seen a baby pigeon.
We ain't seen them tree frogs. We ain't seen them tree frogs is back behind you making all that noise either.
So the biggest surprise for me, and I think all three of us picked the Dolphins over the Titans. And Mike, you can let us know what our score is. But all three of us picked the Dolphins over the Titans. Although they had Huntley, we felt that, I felt that, let me say, that they would do enough, and the Dolphins defense would do enough to beat the Titans. I really thought, looking at the Titans schedule and looking at their personnel, maybe 2 games they would possibly win, and possibly one. And I guess this is that one.
The Dolphins are in trouble, man.
Levis had 25 yards passing. When Rudolph got in the game and Levis went down on his shoulder, Rudolph moved the ball to the point to where they were like, "You go sit out, Levis." they didn't even put it back in the game. So even that was enough to really sustain a victory. And of course, it was. I think it was more so the Dolphins not being effective offensively. And defensively as well, because they were able to manage the game. Pollard had 88 yards out of the 142 rushing. As I mentioned, they only had 102 yards passing with Rudolph and Levis. Their kicker was 5 for 5. He had a 53-yarder. And Huntley was basically the only thing really they had. I mean, their kicker, the Dolphins kicker, went 2 for 2. He had a 56-yarder. The kickers were the MVPs of the game. Huntley had he was 14 for 22 for 96 yards. That's it. He led the team in rushing, 8 carries for 40 yards, and they had 106-yard rushes. But they really laid an egg, and I think it really showed early. And I think if Levis had stayed in that game, they possibly would have had a chance. But I feel that Callahan kind of felt the momentum shifting with Rudolph in, and he kept him in there, and they pulled it out. They ended up scoring 31 points. And I was just shocked that the Bears would have lost this game.
That's crazy. Billy, let me say Antonio Smith, shout out to you. Sylvester Webb, shout out to you, brother. My mama is in the house. Everybody say mama.
Mama who?
My mother. My mama, not mama who, my mama.
I said mama.
Oh, I thought you said mama who. I couldn't say my mama.
You say everybody said mama. I said mama.
You said who?
Mama.
Mama.
No, I didn't say who.
Mike, it's your turn.
Mike, who you got?
Go ahead. I'm tallying up the score.
Oh, you want me to go?
Yes, sir.
My surprise of the week? Okay. Here's my surprise of the week, and this is not a good surprise. Like, this is like Fred. He said he was surprised that the team scored a lot of points. Titans scored 31 points. My surprise is a bad surprise. and I'm talking about Bryce Huff. I don't know if you guys know anything about Bryce Huff. He was with the Jets last year, edge rusher, had a lot of sacks, did a great job last year with the Jets. He was acquired by the Eagles during the offseason. The Eagles paid him $50+ million to come into play and be an edge rusher. And the Eagles did not sign Hassan Reddick, who was on the last year of his contract, and he wanted a new contract, but the Eagles ended up trading him to the Jets for some draft picks and all. Hassan Reddick has not reported to camp. He's not with the Jets right now at all. He was the leading sacker, the leading edge rusher for the Eagles the past 2 seasons. And they traded him to the Jets because they didn't want to re-sign him. They didn't want to give him a big contract like $53 million or $50+ million like they did Bryce Huff. But they got Bryce Huff from the Jets to replace Hassan Reddick. Like I said, Hassan Reddick is still holding out because he wants a contract and the Jets won't give it to him. Now, one thing, when you do sign a guy like that who's in his last year of his contract, when he goes to your team, you give him a new contract. So I don't know what's up with the Jets or why they're not giving Hassan Reddick a new contract. But Bryce Huff is 4 games into the season. They paying him $50+ million. Bryce Huff wears number 0, right? Linebacker, edge rusher. He's got 0 solo tackles. He's got 0 pressures. He's got 0 sacks.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. He's got 1. Watch
0.
this. He's got 1 tackle assist because the guy was on the ground. He jumped on the pile.
Wow.
But it's very apropos that he wears number 0, and 4 weeks into the season as a starting edge rusher, a starting linebacker, he's got 0 solo tackles, 0 pressures on the quarterback, and 0 sacks. That's bad.
That's the heck of a surprise right there, brother.
That's
a
bad.
heck of a surprise. Yes,
That's
sir.
bad. That's just bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty good there. That's
You're
pretty
right.
good there. Okay, my surprise. Surprise.
Uh-oh.
I tried to hold off on this because I wasn't real sure, but I got to give him his props. Quarterback Sam Darnold with the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
I didn't think he was real, so I kept holding off because I'm watching, and he has wins against the Giants, San Francisco, Houston, Green Bay, in Lambeau Field. He was 20 for 28, and he's 3 touchdowns, 275 yards. I mean, this guy was on the trash bin as far as quarterbacking is concerned. This is his 3rd team. He started out with the Jets, went to San Francisco and Panthers, and now he's with Minnesota. And the guy's balling. He has them 4-0. Who would have thought that Sam Darnold, who was put out to pasture, would have these guys 4-0? And he'll give a couple stats for you. He's completing 69% of his passes. Let's just call it 70. 70% of his passes. 11 touchdowns that he's thrown, which is 1st in the NFL, and which is basically 3 touchdown passes per game. So my hat's off, and my surprise is Sam Darnold. Let's see how long he can go with this, but he's playing exceptionally well right now, Sam Darnold.
And that's a surprise because, I a couple of seasons ago, or even last season, I would have placed Sam Darnold in the same bin or same category as Baker Mayfield. Because Baker Mayfield's proving me wrong because Baker Mayfield, he's not a starter. He's a backup quarterback. He's a decent backup quarterback, but he's not a starter. And he's killing it down there, man, in Tampa. He had a bad game, last week, but this past week they jumped back on the train and whooped the Eagles behind.
You know what's so interesting? I think we're seeing an element of importance of what's all on the table, and I say this. When you look at a guy like Baker Mayfield, of course he has talent, but we're talking about a guy who can this guy be elite in the NFL? No, he probably won't be elite. But here's the deal: can an offensive coordinator understand who he is as a player and put him in position to make plays?
And Zach Robinson is doing that with Baker Mayfield. Yeah, Zach Robinson's doing that with Baker Mayfield because if you watch
he's put them in position.
You watch Baker with that Eagles game, those first couple of series, I don't even know why they didn't stick to it. Those first couple of series, boom, his back foot hit and the ball was gone. Back foot hit, ball was gone. Back foot hit, ball was gone. And it was right down the field. And they did it those first two series and were unstoppable. I mean, he wasn't making mistakes. The ball was on point where it needed to be. And that just, that builds confidence in you as a player. When you're making plays like that, and you're moving the ball like that, and you're being successful with the scheme, you feel like you can do anything after a while. And Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator, he's figured it out. Like you said, what Baker Mayfield's strong points are and what his weaknesses are. And he's actually putting game plans together for Baker Mayfield to do what he does best or what he's strong at more often than to do what he's not as good at doing. It's been successful for them. It's been successful to them. Exactly. So we got time. You guys want to answer some questions? We got time for our picks. What do you want? We just have time to give our picks and not really really explain it.
A couple questions after pick?
We're going to do a couple questions after we give our picks. We'll give our picks first. Just don't give any dialogue with your picks. Just give us a pick. You got Thursday night, Sunday night, and then Monday night. It's only one game, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I know they have 2 nights. So, Fred, you go ahead, give your picks.
All right, Thursday night, Tampa Bay and Atlanta. I have to get at the Tampa Bay. Todd Bowles really scares me. He's not quite the. I know I'm giving a little more on this, but
he just told you don't get no
comments. Just told him not to do that.
I know. He told me not to do it.
Just hard-headed.
Cut his mic.
Cut his mic.
Cut him off.
All right.
I can't silence him.
Sunday.
I can't cut him off.
Sunday.
Watch.
Sunday. We got.
You're terrible.
I'm sorry, Fred. I had to do that.
Shut up. Y'all cut
Go
me
ahead,
off?
Fred. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Fred.
Sunday we got Dallas. We got Dallas and Pittsburgh. All right, don't make me come to New Jersey. We got Dallas and Pittsburgh. I got to take Dallas. I know Pittsburgh is hot, but I got to take Dallas. Monday night, Kansas City and New Orleans. Watch this. New Orleans will be Kansas City.
Okay. All right.
It's time.
Okay. I'm gonna go before you, Mike.
Okay.
All right. So Tampa Bay, Thursday night, Tampa Bay versus Atlanta. They're in Atlanta. I'm taking Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is going to pull it out. We got Sunday night. We got the Cowboys at Pittsburgh. I'm taking Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh at home.
Fred, did you say the Cowboys, Fred? Fred,
yes.
Did you say? Okay, all right. Wow.
I got Pittsburgh. I'm betting on Tomlin. And then I got to go with what I think the Chiefs are just going to run out of luck, man. Patrick Mahomes is playing. Patrick Mahomes his numbers are the same as Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is playing terrible right now, and their numbers are like almost exactly the same. I don't know how the Chiefs are still winning and are undefeated, but I think it's going to run out. It's the same thing that happened to the Eagles last year. They were winning games, and then finally things it ran out on them because they were playing bad. So I'm picking the Saints.
You can't compare them to the Eagles. You can't compare them to the Eagles.
I just
Somebody's
did.
Just like the Eagles.
That
don't make it right. That don't make it right.
I'm just talking. I'm talking about the type of play, what they're doing. They're making a lot of mistakes and still winning games. That's what the Eagles were doing. They were making a lot of mistakes and still. Yes, they were. They were 10-1 last year. They were not playing well in those 10 games they won.
Mike, what's your pick?
So I got the Saints. I got the Saints.
So you got the Saints. Okay. All right. So I'll go backwards. Okay. New Orleans, Kansas City. I'm not going to count Kansas City out at home. I'm going with Mahomes at home. They find a way to win. As much as you're saying their luck going to run out, they find a way to win.
It's going to run out.
Okay.
And it ran out.
The Sunday night, Cowboys, Steelers. I'm going with Steelers all day, every day.
Any team that's playing the Cowboys, I'm going with the other team. You can put that down right now, Mike, for the rest of the season. Any team that's playing the Cowboys, I'm going for the other team. I don't care who it is. You just put me down.
Okay. All right. Bucks at the Falcons. Falcons are too inconsistent. The Bucks are hot right now, particularly Mayfield is hot. I'm going to go with the Bucks. There we go.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So where are we at in our picks right now, Mike?
Okay. So right now, we are bringing up the rear, Irv. We're bringing up the rear.
Who is we? What do you mean we?
Me, you and I. You and I, Ty. You and I. So Fred is 10-4. Of the games that we're picking, just for those that are wondering, we're picking Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night, whether it be one or two games, and that's how we're coming up with these totals. So Fred is 10-4. You and I, we're 9-5.
Oh, we're just a game behind. That's all right. Just a game behind.
Oh yeah.
We right there.
Early.
He ain't walking away from us. We can still touch him. He ain't walking away. You ain't getting away like that, bro.
But right now, he has the crown. He has the crown right now.
No, it's a long season. It's only 4 games in. We got a long way to go. Yeah, we got a long way to go. So listen, we want to set this time aside the next couple of minutes, if you will. We have a bunch of people still watching.
Hey, real quick, the pot is $100 per person.
Well, wait a minute. Who said that?
The winner takes it. I'm just putting you on the spot so y'all can get to it. That's all.
Who said that?
He's just making up stuff.
That's first time I heard that.
Yeah, that's first time I heard it too. We don't just do bragging rights. Okay, $100.
No.
Okay, we got to do $100.
All right, $100.
$100.
$100.
All right.
$100. We got to go out. No, we don't do that.
We got to answer some questions.
So for those of you who are watching right now, we're going to take the next couple of minutes and give you an opportunity to ask us a question or two. So if you have a question for us that you would like for us to respond to, we'll give you a couple of. I know there's a delay when you're typing in, so it's going to take a second or two, a couple of minutes. But if you have a question right now, you're watching.
I got a question.
No, not you. You don't get to ask a question.
Let me
finish giving them the instructions on how to ask the question. If you have a question,
the next 2 questions. Here we go.
Capital Q, semicolon, and ask your question. Type your question. We'll throw it up on the screen, and we'll do our very best to make some sense out of our answer. Kenneth Winston's in the house. Y'all think the Dolphins passing game is going to get back on track? Do we think the Dolphins passing game is going to get back on track? Personally, no. I feel bad for the receivers, Tyreek Hill and Waddle, because their season, as far as them putting up big numbers, is beyond in jeopardy.
Done.
They're just done because I don't know what his name is, but I saw a little bit of his play the other day. The black quarterback that's the backup,
Tyler Huntley.
Is that Huntley?
Huntley.
Oh, he's horrible. Huntley. His parents were in the stands. They were. I
think they're gonna go. They're gonna go Wildcat. They're gonna put Tyreek
Wildcat.
Hill in the back. They're gonna go Wildcat. Just to get in the ball.
And
they're done.
What's interesting, guys? We knew exactly who they had as offensive weapons at the wide receiver spot. We talked about, and at this point would accept and understand that it would possibly be true if Tua was in the game, that the Cheetah will probably have 2,000 yards.
Right. Yeah. But
he's probably going to go. He's probably going to go from that possibility to probably maybe 1,000 if he gets.
No, not 1,000. Maybe 700-800. The way they're looking right now.
Yeah.
But you know what? The sad thing about that is this, and I don't know if just chime in if you agree with me. The sad thing about that is this: you see the big drop off from the starting quarterback to Viatongaloa to the second string quarterback, and how bad it is, and how in jeopardy they put the team because of the difference in talent and the difference in consistency with the second quarterback or the backup quarterback. Most teams in the league are just an injury, a quarterback injury away from the same situation, because most backup quarterbacks in the league right now are that kind of drop off in talent, and teams would be lost. I said most. I didn't say all of them.
Oh, okay.
Most teams in the NFL right now, their backup quarterback would be doing the same kind of thing, causing their offense not. You got Tyreek Hill, best receiver. Some people tout him as the best player in the NFL, and the quarterback can't get him the ball.
Yeah.
You mean
right now,
what?
Tua needs to go back to the negotiating table. He can get whatever he wants right now. just go back to the table and say, hey, y'all need to pay me more. That's
Tua
how much
needs to
he means to them.
Tua needs to retire.
I'm
he
saying
don't need
that
to go back to the table.
I agree with that, but I'm just
They're gonna look at him like, "What, you crazy?"
I'm just making a point how valuable he is right now. That's all.
There's no way if I was the Dolphins that I would get to a new contract. And when one hit, he'll be gone.
It's not going to happen. It was just to emphasize his importance to the team. That's all.
He's trying to make a point.
Relax.
Stu Winrow, what's going on? Shout out to you. Antonio Smith, what do you guys think the odds of the Eagles to win the NFC East this year? That's now, a hard one. I mean, they're 2-2. I mean, right now, they got a lot to fix. The Eagles have a lot to fix. First, they got to fix their attitude because they have to. They can't tackle. They don't. And tackling is not like they can't tackle. Tackling is wanting to tackle. You can't. When you tackle somebody, your will and desire to get that person on the ground has to be greater than that person's will and desire for you not to get them on the ground. And you cannot dive at a professional athlete's legs, whether it's a receiver, whether it's a running back. You can't dive at his legs 2 or 3 yards away from him and think that he's going to go down on the ground. Tackling one-on-one was taught to all of us when we were youngsters. You got to run through the ball carrier and wrap your arms. That's tackling one-on-one.
Yeah.
Simple answer. I'm going with Washington Commanders. I think they're going to continue to rally around that young quarterback.
Right.
Yeah. They got as much shot, if not better than the rest of them. So I'm going to go with Washington.
I agree with you, Mike, because right now, based on what's happening now,
I think Washington's going to be relevant as well. Daniels has. I didn't think that he would be as effective as he has been. But I think he's kind of proven himself. I mean, with some of the throws he had against Cincinnati, and just kind of hanging in the pocket when he needs to, and getting out of the pocket when he needs to, it shows a lot of discipline on his part and really an understanding of what he's called to do. If the Eagles don't get it together, I see them possibly. I hate to even say this. I see them possibly coming third in the NFC East.
Could be.
And Washington's confidence is growing. But hey, you two guys, I got something for you. It's right down our alley.
Uh-oh.
Devontae Adams is seeking a trade.
Yep.
So here's the question that I ask you. What do you think the best fit and why for him to go?
The best fit?
They don't have look to make a difference and go ahead, Fred. Okay. Go ahead, Fred.
I think the best fit for Devontae Adams will possibly be either back in Green Bay or with Baltimore.
Okay. I'm writing that down. Okay, go ahead.
I can see him, stretching the field a little bit in Baltimore and back in Green Bay with Jordan Love. With him being, a leader of that young receiving core, I think that'll take them back to another level.
He ain't going back to Green Bay. He done got out of that cold. He ain't going back to Green Bay. But go ahead, Baltimore. Yeah, that's a good fit.
They write him that check. I bet he'll go.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Irv? What do you think?
I think was there a rumor about him going to Dallas? Was that one of the rumors? No. There were two teams that
Jets.
The Jets was one of them. Yeah, I wouldn't. If I was him, I wouldn't go there. And there was another team they did rumored to go. I would.
New Orleans. That was the other one.
I would like to see him, and this is obviously a not a high probability. If he were to come to Washington, to the Commanders, because that team right now, they've done a good job of rebuilding, restructuring, putting people in place. They already have a couple of good receivers, but I think he can come there and be the starter and help that quarterback continue to elevate and just ascend, man, and just continue to build on what they've already done over this past. I mean, they made a lot of progress just in one off season, and it's showing on the field right now.
I'm surprised at you guys. Forget the most obvious place who is in desperate need of a wide receiver is the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think that if
he goes there, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
There
it's
you
a
go.
wrap.
And
If he goes there, it's a wrap.
I think they're going to make a strong play for him, and I would not be surprised if Andy Reid doesn't pull that off.
Oh, Andy's slick like that too.
Yeah,
you know what, Mike? You're right. I didn't even think about that.
Think about it. They wouldn't.
No, you're right.
They wouldn't got a guy that hadn't played football in 6 years in Hunt. 6 years. They wouldn't got him. So they'll do just about anything to win.
The number one guy is down right now.
There you go, Rashid's
down.
Yeah.
So the spot is open. They're doing a good job, the backups, but yeah, they got room for him.
Oh yeah.
Wow, that would be ooh. That would be ugly for some folk. Washington gonna be a problem the next few years. You right, Stu Winrow. Yep, Washington's gonna be a problem, particularly for the NFC East. They are going to be a problem for a lot of folk, particularly if the Eagles don't get it together. They got a lot of stuff to fix, man.
And you know what, Irv? I think what Washington with the new coach Dan Quinn is bringing, some toughness to that team.
Yes,
because
they changed.
That's what you're seeing, offensively and defensively.
Right,
a little bit more aggression, a little more toughness, and I think that's been the difference. And
all they have to do is start winning, and they're already doing that. All they got to do is start winning. When they start winning, it changes everything. Everybody, they start believing that they can win. Then they start expecting themselves to win. And that just changes everything. It changes everything. So, all right, let me shout out to everybody. Antonio Smith, Stuart Winrow, Florence, all the way in the state of Washington. Florence Oakman is watching right now. Yeah, Billy Bell is in the house, rocking with Raul and the Three Amigos. They keep asking me. I'm going to be on their podcast next Wednesday, guys. Yes, I'll be there. Kenneth Winston, shout out to you. Richard Melton, shout out to you. He said trash bin. Sam Darnold is still on the trash bin, and a very good choice because we're all just as surprised. Yep, he's a good choice for a surprise. Billy Bell, I think I said Sylvester Webb, my mama, Vincent Capriati, Keith Reynolds in the house. I said Kenneth Winston, Joe Baker, Pastor Joe Baker, Marilyn Teresa, Fred Barnett, Dwayne Murphy, Fly Eagles Fly, James X-Man Monsanto, Kenneth Winston, I said Kenneth Winston, Ronald Davis. He said, I think the frogs are bothering Irvin more than anybody else. They are bothering me. Vincent Cap, Earlene Burnett. That's it. Shout out to all of y'all. All right. Thank you so much for being with us here on tonight. This is Wide Out's World. Please don't forget, those of you who are watching on Facebook, whether it's my Facebook page or whether it's Fred's Facebook page, please go over to YouTube and hit the little magnifying glass and search for Wide Out's World. And when you get there, tap the subscription button and hit the notifications button so that you will know when we come on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. We're doing this. And also, like us, share us. Don't forget about us. All right? It's me, Irving Fryar, here at Wild House World. My two co-hosts, Michael Timpson and Fred Barnett. There it is, Wild House World. No, do the Wild.
Yeah.
If we do it like, look, we do this. If you do it like this, Mike, watch this.
Will you stop? Will you stop?
No, listen. If you
put your fingers down, Fred.
If you do it like this, it's Wide House World because my head is the O.
Boy, you've been working on that long time, haven't you? Good gracious. You've been working on that, man.
That's Wide House World. Boom. Yep, my head is the O.
That works for you. All right. We're gonna play for you. We're gonna play for you.
Lord, y'all, all of y'all pray for us. All right. Listen, we'll be back next week talking about week number 5 and all that transpired in these upcoming games. Until then, y'all make sure you take care of yourselves, take care of the people, because you reap what you sow. Ain't that right, fellas?
Amen.
Yes, sir.
All right. Say bye, Fred.
Holla.
We'll see y'all next week, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. We're out of here.
This has been Wideout's World. Touchdown. Not 1, not 2, but 3 NFL legends. Fred Barnett, Irving Fryar, and Michael Timpson. Are you freaking kidding me? If it's football talk you're looking for, I think we've got you covered. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on YouTube at Wideouts World. See you next time.
Let's go! Let's go! Go! Go!